morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hi. Still got some energy? Yeah? Yeah. Great, absolutely. Still up, have you got a little bit more space left in your brain to soak in a bit more?
Definitely.
Hopefully? Yes. Great, all right. If we haven't met before, my name is Ben. No, I am not from around here. I'm from Sydney, Australia. We have another Australian.
Yes.
Yes. Represent. Have we got someone else from Australia?
Yeah, Melbourne.
Oh, Melbourne.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Melbourne here too.
Here we are. That's great. Yeah, and I'm absolutely stoked to be here for this conference. I've been learning a lot. I'm sure you've been learning a lot as well. That's me.
Hi, I'm Erin.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, friends. Oh my gosh, we made it to day 3. I don't know if I'm with you on the sponging. I'm feeling a little full. I'll be co-facilitating with Ben. For those I haven't met already, that you've already spoken to me, please say hi after. Please show us drawings. Please do all the things. I'm really excited to be with you for this final workshop. I think that we, as the Drawify team, are doing together. So before we get officially started, Ben has an ask. I have an ask of you. We need a little help. Ben?
Absolutely. Thanks, Erin. As you may or may not know, what we've been doing is collecting messages from everyone in the conference for all of your professions. And what we've been doing is gathering those messages and putting them on these boards with a portrait of the professor, and these are going to them as a gift.
Nice.
Oh.
Aw.
Isn't that lovely?
Yes.
Yeah. But can you spot the issue?
Yeah.
We need more, thank you. Yeah, so look, we're just going to steal 3 minutes only from this workshop, just to fill these boards, and here's how you can help us. You'll find some cards near you or around you. If there's not any right next to you, take a look around and just nab some from the person next to you. And I'm about to read out the names of some professors here. If they mean anything to you at all, like if you have a great memory, if you want to thank them for something, think of a message that you can write to one of them, or more than one is great. So for example, I have here Neil Malhotra. Has anyone had Neil in any classes? Fantastic. So we got two, there's 2 messages that we can.
Write him a love note. Oh, appreciation.
The messages of thank you, whatever. I'll leave that up to you. We also have S. Christian Wheeler. We have Brian Lowry. Yes, love Brian. We have Francis Flynn. Getting no responses from Francis. Do we know Francis Flynn?
Yep.
Is he a complete imposter or is he here? Jesper Sorensen.
Yeah.
Stefano Senyos.
Yes.
Okay. Nobody has written anything for this poor guy yet, so feel free. Stephen Callender.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Steve.
Yeah.
Mate. Zachary Tomala. William Barnett. Matt Abrahams.
Yeah.
Thank you. They have none so far. 3 more. We got Paul. Oh my goodness. Flyderer. Does anyone recognize that name? Paul Flyderer. We have Hayagriva Rao. Right. And last one, Ken Schatz. If you heard any of those names, write 1 or 5 messages. And I'll shut up and you can do that for a couple of minutes and go. Thank you very much.
All right, welcome back.
Thanks very much for everyone for doing that. Very satisfying, isn't it? Does that get your vibes up, by the way? Like, you know, doing goodwill messages. Yeah, nice one. Okay, now as Jill said, even in case you didn't hear Jill, Jill, would you like to wave to all the good looking people? There's Jill.
Hi.
She's on our
Hi
crew as
again,
well.
son.
As Jill said, do please feel free to write more if you want, especially after the session. But right now, it's time to do what you came here for, and that is to learn how to make personal user manual. Erin and I are going to show you how, not only how to do one, but how to do it as a leader, as a team, as a way to get much more out of it as a group. So, another question for you. What's the one thing you wish everyone knew about you? Erin, how should we do this?
Love to ask. Take a moment again just to read the question. You're about to answer it. You're about to answer it to someone else. So let's read it together. Ben read it for us one more time. What is the one thing you wish everyone knew about you to help get the work done? So help make work go. So whatever role you are, whatever team you work in or team you wish you worked in, think about your answer to that question. Here's what we're gonna do. In a moment, when I say go, I'm gonna ask you to get up. I'm gonna ask you to find someone that is someone you have not spoken with, ideally, yet, or don't know, ideally, and exchange your response to that question after an intro. So say hello, and then exchange your response to that question. I'm gonna give you a total of 3 minutes to do it. It's roughly about a minute per person. And when you hear the chime, please, that's your moment to pause, and just stay standing. All right? Any questions about what I'm asking you to do?
Can I ask to understand a little bit more? So it's about an objective to get a work done, but I don't know what the work I want. them
The
to
work
do.
you have today, your team, any team. You work with a team?
Yeah.
Perfect. So what's one thing you wish that team knew about you to help make that work go better? That's the question we're asking. What's that one thing? Make sense?
Yes.
Feeling good? Got a good smile. I'm feeling good about it. All right, friends. Ready, set, go. Right where you are, I definitely remain standing, but that's okay. You can sit if you like. The ask of you is this: what did you hear from your partner? What did you hear from your partner? Anyone?
Go get her.
Go get her.
We will get there.
We'll get there.
Transparent. And
Transparent.
Trust.
Trust. Okay. Interesting. I see two hands. I'm gonna come back to that. We'll get there. What did you think that meant about knowing what to work with you?
That was my share. So it's meeting with team or people. It's like together we'll get there. We'll make this happen.
What's underneath that?
Collaboration,
Valuing collaboration. is really
value
important to you.
collaboration, outcome focus, breaking the barriers, making it happen.
Wow, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
Those would be the, thanks for that. Awesome. Other hands, yeah, and then come back.
curiosity.
Curiosity.
Personal intent, so sharing how this matters to you and your personal story
Yeah,
and connecting people with your personal story, so I learned that.
nice. I saw one other hand, it was female, yeah?
Needs feedback from client as soon as possible, as fast as possible.
Needs client feedback as soon as possible, as fast as possible, yes.
Hers was feedback related
Feedback.
as well, so openness and receptiveness.
Nice, nice. These are all great examples. Yeah,
Likes to be challenged.
likes to be challenged, yeah. We're gonna do this one more time, same move, same process, but I need you to find someone different, and that question is this: what's the single hardest thing? What's the single hardest thing about working with you? What's the single hardest thing? This is gonna be a 2-minute round. Work for pairs, I know that there are some needs for trios. In 2 minutes, it's a little tight, all right? So nice and tight. Ready, set, go.
There you go. Growth mindset.
Growth mindset.
What'd you hear?
An intended pressure, leading by example, but then by working a lot, putting pressure on others who think it's expected behavior. That's
Say-
what happened.
Repeat that one more time.
So exerting an intended pressure on a team
Got it, okay, yeah.
by
Exerting-
working a lot and being always on top of
Overwork,
things.
okay, got it. Exerting more pressure than intended, over pressure. Got it. So a couple hands, yeah, in the back.
Attention to details, too much attention to details.
Often too much attention, or sometimes No qualifiers there. Attention to detail.
Always.
Always. Okay, very good. Yeah,
Sometimes can be too direct to people.
can be too direct, perceived as too direct, come across too direct. Yeah.
We also have the trend of demanding, detail-oriented, maybe even obsessed. We're exactly the same, by the way. That's like,
Really?
yeah.
No, there's no theme at all right now, is there? Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, she loves to challenge other people and take them out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, stretching people, maybe a little too stretchy. Got it. Interesting. Yeah.
Perfectionist.
Perfectionism and perfectionist.
Yeah,
Oh, go
Sorry.
for it. Go for it. And 1 and 2.
We would actually exasperate each other. He's very action oriented, let's go. And I am very detail oriented, so it's like I want to focus and understand everything before making any decision.
So make a team.
Have a team with some strong contrast. Sorry.
we were close, we were not close, we were opposites, so one person doesn't delegates and doesn't let go. The other person delegates and forgets.
Oh no, what? I was responsible. Nice. Anything else before we move? Anything else?
takes a bit of time to get to know her.
Takes a lot of time to get to know her.
High standards, but I mean, given her role, I understand why she expects high standards from others.
High standards. I need to explain it. Yeah.
It's the same thing which I was saying, good and now hard as well, persistence on my part or trust on her part. So it helps to get things done. And probably it's also challenging because if someone within the similar direction thinking that, okay, he's going to be on my head to get this done, maybe it's also hard on the other side.
Nice. All right. Well, so in lieu of all of this, I wonder how and where a personal user manual could fit. How could that fit? So being cognizant of what we just did, thinking about these are some of the things that I really want everyone to know. These are some things that might be a little tough, right? How do you codify that in a way that folks that you are about to work with, whether it's enduring or adaptive, meaning really quick, right? In whatever teaming environment, how might a PUM, a personal user manual, or something like it help? Ben, how would it help?
How would it help? I'm glad you asked. Yeah, because I think I've got a slide for that. Can I actually quick check, how familiar are we with personal user manuals? Has anyone, so yes. Has anyone, yeah, so
I heard a podcast about it once.
heard about it once? Okay, so most of you haven't got one, or haven't heard about it, haven't done one, is that right? Looking that way, okay, great. It's like, imagine if Erin and I are working together, we're gonna work together for a long time. Imagine if we started with me doing this. Hi Erin, nice to meet you. I suck at making decisions. It doesn't happen, does it? It doesn't happen. But I bet you, like weeks down the track, Erin's gonna say, like, Ben, would you make a decision for crying out loud? You know, like Erin's gonna start getting annoyed at me because she didn't know right from the start that I suck at making decisions, or I suck at something else, or I'm great at something else, you know? So personal user manuals are that kind of quick start guide. So when I, rock up in my shrink wrap and Erin unwraps me and I'm added to the team, Erin can go, oh, okay, so how do I operate this Ben Crothers character? Oh, now I know. So that's exactly what the personal user manual is all about. That's what it's for.
You wouldn't get a job if you were to go and say, I suck.
That is after getting the job. That's the manager's responsibility.
It's a one-page summary.
That's a good QA conversation, by the way.
All right, it is, yeah.
That's a really good one.
Now, some people, when they see the word manual, they think of, those big manuals we used to get with software. Remember when, like back in the 90s, when software was on CDs and stuff, you got a book and, you went through it. Doesn't happen anymore, right? For obvious reasons. So we're not after a massive tome to read for each other. It's a one-page summary. It's an opportunity to tell others how you work best and how to collaborate. I think it was a great comment on collaboration before. How best to work with you. And the great thing, and this is something I really like about it, it helps you be more self-aware. Actually, the doing of the manual helps you learn more about yourself and be a bit more real about yourself in a way certainly that a job interview would not. And the last thing is it certainly surfaces assumptions and patterns across a team, just like what we did there. It's nice to know ahead of time who's detail oriented, you know, who's great at making decisions, who needs more time, you know, who thinks silently, who likes to think aloud. It's nice to kind of surface these kind of behaviours and assumptions. Here's what it's not, by the way. It's certainly not the ideal version. Like imagine if I said, hi, Erin, I'm awesome at making decisions. I can't wait to make decisions with you. And then weeks down the track, Erin's going, dude, you're not delivering. You know, so it's not your CV. You already have that. Yeah, your boss has read that. Your team members probably haven't read it, but what we're doing here is it's certainly not the CV. And it's not a personality profile. That's certainly not to say that personality profiles don't have their place. They do, yeah, but it's complementary. And it's certainly not input for a performance interview. Does anyone manage teams here? Yeah, okay, brilliant. A lot of you. You know what it's like when you imply undue pressure on people to perform rather than be more authentic. So be cautious. Like when you say, okay, like I came away from this conference, it's a great idea to do personal user manuals together. Make sure that you give them permission to be authentic and it's not for performance reviews. It's a way, yeah, and it's not a way to get your own way. So I used to work with a lot of distributed teams in software companies, and some are more, can I say, forthright about saying, these are my working hours, do not contact me outside of these hours, and I will not read email from X hour to X hour. So yes, that has a place, we need to know that, but we work that out as a team in conversation because it's the overlap, isn't it? It's not about saying my way or the highway. So it's a way of surfacing these things and then working it out together. And it's not a guaranteed way to for psychological safety. And lastly, and it kind of relates to all of these really, it's about the process, not the product. It's to stimulate dialogue together as a team, not to diagnose and box people. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about psychological safety and how it correlates to this?
Say again, sir?
Can you talk about the second last point, psychological safety, why it is not a psychological?
Yeah. In other words, just because I decide to say to everyone in my team how best to work with me, like what my preferences are, how I best communicate or collaborate, just the doing of that doesn't mean that we can tick the box that, oh, this is a psychologically safe environment now. Oh, now we're magically comfortable with bringing up any idea, magically comfortable with dissent, magically comfortable with saying I'm not comfortable.
But don't you need a psychological safe environment or a safety net before you introduce something like a person?
That is such a good question. Yeah. I would certainly say this is a way to get there. Okay. And I think as leaders, if we're aware of this, we can certainly set it up to say, look, this is a way for us to be more authentic with one another. And preface it and say, look, some stuff might be hard. You might have found that second question a little bit hard, like, oh, I've got to talk about something that I'm not good at. Some people have, you know, an issue with doing that. And if there's issues like that in your team, it's often good to address it one-on-one, to say, hey, this is what we're going to be doing. Personal user manuals mean having to be more real and honest about maybe what you're not so good at with the rest of your team, giving you a heads up. It's not giving you an out, but giving you a heads up. The great thing I always remember about psychological safety, it's not about being nice to each other. It's how you recover when something not nice happens, you know? So I'd say look for opportunities where you can use this as a vehicle to head towards that safety net.
Is it also not an opportunity to improve on some of your skills? Is it
Correct.
not that, or is it?
No, it is, you're absolutely right. It is not that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not. It's, yeah, I'll put that in the performance review bucket. Now, of course, we wanted to help everyone here visualize, what it might be like joining a new team. Sorry, question?
I have a question. So is this like a one-way thing that you try to like show everybody that you're your user manual, or is it like a two-way thing for asking your team or everybody else too?
Your question is so well timed.
Yeah.
We're about to go there.
Okay.
Yeah, hang out, but this cat is an important transition.
Yeah, because as Erin and I were preparing this, we knew we needed to mentally get you into this space of what it's like to, meet a new team for the first time, or meet a new roommate for the first time, or any new collaborator for the first time. And so we went looking on Splash and on the sites, and for some weird reason, it gave us pictures of cats. Don't know what cats have to do with meeting new people, but we liked it. So
Well, I can offer this. What we looked up was roommate, y'all. And as we looked up roommate, that was the majority image. So what we've learned is apparently cats have something to do with connectivity and roommates. You'll see a cat as a reminder of this, that when you think about the personal user manual, to lift up, if I may, Ben, this cat staring at you, reminding you that it's an idea, a concept of going to college for the first time, meeting your roommate for the first time. What did they really need to know? Imagine meeting a person for the first time in person and working with them in person for the first time. No kidding, what do they need to know? So very often we'll focus on our buzz topics, communications, decision-making, buzz topics, right? Okay, we've got to solve those things. You certainly do. There's also some things that you need to know about people when you work with them. The best example I can give you, Ben and I met for the first time physically, although we've worked together virtually for a very long time. I did not know that I need to make sure I am on Ben's best side.
yeah, perfect example.
So that he can hear me well.
Yeah, because I can't hear at all on this side.
Did not know this. That's a really great thing to put in the quick guide, in the one-page quick teams. Those are unusual things. Would they help make the work go? If you have a nutritional thing, that can be a really big deal. So it's what we're trying to get at is with the GAT is a little bit of humor in the fact that it's about those moments when you've had to be a foreign tourist in a foreign place and quickly introduce yourself to someone to make the thing happen. Whether that was the trip, whether that was a successful first year in college, whether that was a really great housing experience while we're delivering at a conference. The idea being that it certainly is about the work. It's about the business. It's also about the humanity of it. So that's where when we talk about it's not a guaranteed way to psychological safety, right? But getting a little vulnerable with your quick guide. When I do this often with teams, so I'll speak to your question and then make sure I answer it, we answer it well, is the idea of making sure that you bring your humanity to it in a way that it's focused on not so much you knowing more about you, but someone being successful understanding you to make the work go. And that's a huge nuance. It's like, there is a way to get this wrong is what I'm saying. That's kind of the so what. I want to come to your question after I answer this. How to use this thing. We're gonna build one together. That's the back half of this class. Okay, so that's what's coming. Before we go there, and that's an example of it, let's skip to that because that's a lot of data. Let's go back to the cat.
Back to the cat, that's nice.
We're gonna stay here for a minute to answer the question. There's many ways to use it. One is when you're Tuckman's model, yeah, forming, storming, norming. Maybe someone still knows Tuckman, but yes. To that end, it's great for formation. It's really good for team formation. When you're making team charters, when you're starting to make your working agreements, and when you're starting to evolve your working agreements, right? For my agilists in the room, it's really good. It's a good common practice. This leads really well to working agreements. In fact, I'm going to use it with 50 people that are forming teams next week to give you implementation, and that's for a federal government in the US. We use this. It's a very valuable tool, can be a very valuable tool, not to be abused and not to be misconstrued. It is a light activity. That being said, doing it right can be really successful for teams, helping them build a safe container. And I have two questions. So that's one way to use it. It is meant to be shared. It's meant like an OKR in some way to be public and publicized. So share what you're comfortable sharing. Does that answer that question? I see a second or third over here. I had, yes.
Yeah, so I look at, I'm in the field of people and
Awesome.
HR, and so I look at this, I'm like, well, what about like protected categories such as disabilities, neurodivergence? Like, I feel like that's helpful information, but I feel like it's also a liability to put that type of stuff out there potentially if it could create discrimination or I don't know, I'm uncomfortable. First, I'm trying to unpack that in myself, like, okay, well, you can put this stuff out there, but how can it be used? I don't know if you've had experiences or seen how it can be used against the person.
Ironically enough, it's the office of the chief people officer is who we're working with next week.
Yeah.
So HR, well, aside of HR, the human capital comes next week. That will probably be something that they will talk about and they'll make decisions as a team on what categories should be included in your guide. Yeah, so and we'll do that together in a moment. We choose as a team what questions might be most comfortable, or it's a personal choice. So lower your, like, stay in the discomfort. And it is individual per team. It's individual per group and how they want to express themselves. What I will say from experience, more can be more, and work within the constraints of the organization and the system you're working in. Does that help a little bit? If not, say more.
I'm trying to, unpack my discomfort in real time here, so see how I'm working. Yeah, I think it's more of like, okay, well, if I disclose I have some kind of neurodivergence and another team uses that against me or says, hey, I don't want to work with this person because they have this thing and
Then the other person should be fired.
they should, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you have that problem.
Right.
Anyways.
Got in their head right now.
You.
I had that moment. Please.
It basically means the policies are broken, because if you've hired somebody who's neurodivergent or on a spectrum, means you need to make sure that your teams and organizations understand that. And at the same time, there are trainings available to work with people on a spectrum. So, and if somebody decides or uses this against a person on a spectrum, then that person should be out of the organization.
That's right. Yeah, and I agree with that. And I think there needs to be a mitigation or some sort of thing for that.
lowest.
Yeah, as you mentioned.
Can I offer something like an instrument like this for teamwork? Certainly doesn't exist in isolation. It would exist within that network of other, I think, checks and measures and guides that any organisation would have. And as we'll see in the exercise, it operates by consent. It operates on what each individual chooses to disclose. Now, I totally get your point. Like sometimes what you don't disclose might be held against you because everyone else is disclosing it. Well, that's certainly a matter for the manager and the team. And like any template or device, it can be used for good or evil. Yeah, but consent is kind of baked in to this. Yeah.
I really appreciate you asking this. Thank you.
I think the point also is that how do you keep this information? It's like PII information. How do you keep it confidential?
Yeah.
And I think to your point, it can be used afterwards. If I know something about Sunny and I can use it against him when Sunny is gone, which is definitely a concern.
I mean, it's sensitive information. Yeah.
It's like my invitation up to all of us, I'm watching us a little bit on I want to respect your time. The idea is if we want to keep talking about it, let's keep talking about it as a choice of the room. The encouragement being as we work through this activity of building yours, think about how you'd use it. Think about how you'd want it used. Think about this, have this conversation, have your conversation with your team, and maybe make agreements on how you would manage if that happened. If the worst case scenario does happen, how would we tackle this? You want to talk about it before it does happen to be ready for it. So it's proactive as well. I wanted to get to one more question before permission to move. Question?
It's on the same line, I mean, it's simple things like I can't make decision faster. It could be used against you even in future promotion or things like that. So what do you disclose? That's one of the things which I'm struggling, is how much. What would be not detrimental to disclose, and how do you identify those? Are safe to disclose?
Let's work through it together, let's do it, and then may we come back to it and see where you're sitting with this. Sound good? So it can be tough. Imagine, and as we go through the building out one for yourself, imagine the environment you might use it in. Give yourself some context for it. That might be a little more helpful when you're thinking about it. Or if you think, I don't have a context, the ideal team. Or if you're in a situation where you want to leave, I don't know everyone's situation. Think about the situation you want to plan for next. How good that's going to be, how I want to contribute, and what I want people to know might be helpful in framing this. Folks, may we? Ben, shall we?
We shall.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Next slide. You wanna quickly review this?
Here's a wall of boxes and text. Now, this is but one example of what a personal user manual might look like. It doesn't have to look like this in either structure or content, but we wanted to show you this just to start to get the idea in your head. This is the sort of thing it can look like. This is what you can build together individually and as your team. So notice it's a set of prompts, and it's made to be filled out either online or on paper and then put into something online like an intranet or something like that with consent. Does anyone use Confluence, Atlassian Confluence? Yes. There's personal user manual templates available in Confluence. And so some kind of big systems like that, and things like Miro and Mural, they have templates. So if you go Googling this, that's great inspiration. But just to give you a guide, that's what we're headed for. Now we're going to make one, aren't we?
We sure are. So this is just a walkthrough of where we're headed. So process is what you see on this chart. Step one, we're gonna choose a set of prompts. Choose a set of prompts. You will get to choose. We're gonna give you a sample set and a slide in a moment. We're gonna keep that slide up there, and individually, we're gonna let you choose. Again, frame this in the context that makes sense for you. Know that potentially as a team you would choose, or however, right, your prompts as a group. That might be how it works in practice, in the wild, after you leave this room. Next is, again, we'll answer them individually. So we'll choose prompts, answer them individually. Ben is going to be helping out with getting us a template. So we're going to draw with you a template together. You'll have a chance to answer, and then we will share and discuss. So that's the key here. I'm giving you the whole process so you know. We will work with a partner. So as you choose your prompts, please know that you will be sharing those prompts and the responses. So choose something you're comfortable sharing is my ask of you. Yeah. So that's where we're headed. So choosing a set. Before you do anything, if you would grab a pen and a blank sheet of paper. If you don't have a blank sheet of paper, let me know. I'm happy to give you one. Yeah. Okay. If you don't have a blank sheet of paper, I'd love to give you a couple. Yeah. All right. Thank you for passing. To pass those around. If somebody to your right or to your left doesn't have a blank sheet, but you could give them one, that's great. Anybody else struggling? Have lots of extra. Keep it in case you need, in case you want a second. Okay. It's okay. It's not draw to connect, which means we won't pause you. You can pick up a pen. Make a mistake. Ben.
All right.
How are you? We are in template in a moment. Let's actually, yeah, let's draw first.
Yeah.
So you would follow Ben. You would follow Ben first. Draw this on your paper, and then we'll choose the prompts. Please follow Ben.
So here's a piece of paper. Don't worry, you don't have to draw a box on the paper. You can if you want. But what we're going to start with is, and this might be a bit scary, but hey, we're all here to nudge ourselves a little bit out of our comfort zones. What I'd like you to do is to draw your self-portrait in the middle. No one else needs to see this. You don't need to share this online or anything like that. It's just to have some fun with, and just to make it you know, to make it fun.
Here's our ask. As a precursor, before you draw it, we're gonna pick prompts and answer them, then draw. So make that circle and keep going. There's a reason for this. He doesn't trust me.
But we're doing the face and then doing the prompts here.
flipping it. You draw the rest of the template. I promise I'll make it make sense.
Okay, here's what I had in mind. I might draw me. So here's me,
I'll surprise you because you were surprised now.
I got glasses on.
Okay, we'll just go with it.
There we
Right,
go.
go ahead and draw
So,
yourself. Go ahead and draw yourself.
Just draw yourself and leave this area blank because this is the space we're gonna use to write your answers to the prompts that you choose.
Go for it. Go for it. Just go ahead and draw. Just go with it. Just go. With it. Yep. Draw that fancy version of you.
So that's the page. All right.
You'll want to stay on that page, so we're adding prompts to it, so definitely leave yourself some space. This is where the CV does matter. Imagine your face is on your resume. Yeah. Draw yourself?
Yeah.
So good.
Meeting things.
Excellent.
Yes.
Just give us a thumbs up when you're done.
Good to go, good to go. Before we move on, everybody check out the face you drew and find one thing you like about it. We gotta find one thing you like about that portrait.
Nobody's seeing it.
I'm smiling.
Right, more thumbs up, we done?
Yeah.
That wasn't too scary?
Hmm.
A little bit fun, maybe?
Yeah.
Everyone's going, don't make eye contact. Don't make eye contact. Okay, now, as we've been saying, we're going to use the rest of this space to add some prompts and then write our answers to those prompts that we choose. So in that space, what I'd like you to do is draw a horizontal line at the top here. Doesn't have to go through your head. If your head is smaller and the line can go all the way across, that's perfectly fine. And then divide it in two. And then along the bottom, draw another horizontal line. So what we got is 5 zones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's the template that we'll be using this morning.
Those zones that you just drew, please fill in zone with one prompt per number. So you'll have five boxes. Please pick 5 prompts that you would add to your quick guide. Please pick 5 prompts that you would add to your quick guide. Read those over. If you don't see one, but one that you really resonate with, it's okay to add it. You can choose your.
In the box 1.
Nope, 1 per box. So I might do what motivates me on this one. I might do preferred work hours on 2 and keep going.
It's in the order of priority or.
No order of priority.
There's no order. It's not like one's more important than another. For example, I might write in this first box, what motivates me is, and then I'd write what the answer to that prompt is. And I would fill that box. And then I'll pick another one that I feel comfy enough answering. And I write that next one and then the answer. We certainly appreciate there are a lot of prompts there, so we'll give you some time to have a read, pick 5, and then use those 5 to fill out your template.
I'm gonna give you starting the time, about 5 minutes or so. 5 minutes, so you have time. And then we'll move from there.
Is there any recommendation for positives versus negatives?
What resonates best with you?
Oh, this is where I thought I might bring up this spectrum, because where you are on this spectrum, what you're willing to share, especially where your team is at and that level of safety, go with that. For example, if you think, look, I just really want to stay down the safe end. High pressure, very unsafe team. I'm just going to go for now with, what is nice and safe. That's fine. If there's a higher level of safety and you're more comfortable with sharing things that you're not good at and things like that, you can go in this territory a bit more. But usually people are around here. And that's why it's great that you get to choose your own prompts.
All right. So here we have a roughly, and we want to be honest with our lunchtime staff. We don't want to take away time from you. So what we're going to do, we're going to be cautious of that. We're going to ask for a pretty aggressive share and share. I'd like to offer 6 minutes per person. So that's clearly a lot less than you would ever normally take. But it's a 12-minute total, and we'll be observing how it's going. If you need a couple extra minutes, we will have time to add that. We have a couple things we wanted to share at the end for you to kind of some best practices around this. We've hit a lot of them already, but so there's a little left, okay, after this pair and share. When you pair and share, pairing and sharing, you're sharing maybe some more vulnerable stuff about you. Maybe you're not. We don't know where you chose to be on the spectrum. Our ask is listeners and speakers, please be a good listen for each other. What I mean by that is we'll invite you to take about 4 of those minutes to share. So 6 minutes per person, about 4 of those minutes to share, may end up being less. Listeners, then reflect on what you heard, ask questions, be really thoughtful to this person about what? About saying, if I was on a hypothetical team with you, so be in that mindset as you listen. Listeners, think, what else would I want? I'm curious, right? Push a little bit, ask a little bit. Be in the mindset of, I was working on the team with that person, give them some thoughts. Those that are sharing. If you think, I don't want what she just asked, I'm not interested in that, please just let your listener know and ask how you would like to be listened to instead. That's our invitation to you. If you would prefer not to be listened to that way, no problem. Just let your listener know how you would like to be listened to instead. Okay. Any questions about what I'm asking you to do? 6 minutes per person, roughly about 4 minutes to share, 2 minutes listeners to reflect. Option, if you have extra time, back to the storyteller and or the person that's sharing your quick guide. The invitation is to certainly share what you appreciated most, what you heard, thank you. It's a bit of a coaching moment. Any questions about this? Any questions?
Are we doing both rounds with the same couple?
Yes, thank you for asking. We'll stay a total of 12 minutes holistically in that same pair. Any other questions? We will chime you back. All right, yes, one more question.
Someone that you haven't talked to, or it could be anybody.
Yeah, I'll let that be up to you all. Ideally, in one of those prompts rounds, maybe find one of those people, because you've already made hopefully a connection. All right, that would be an encouragement. So maybe one of the prompt rounds, you pick one. If not, your neighbor is fine. All right, 12 minutes, go for it. Wow. We were really envious of your conversations. Just so you know. I'm curious, what stuck out? What stuck out from your conversations? What stuck out to you?
There were a lot of commonality.
In what ways? What ways? May I ask? And then kind of.
Maury was saying that, he likes to have respectful candor. And I said, I'd rather know that it's coming with good intentions when you're giving me feedback rather than, just giving me feedback for the sake of.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Thanks for letting me ask. How about over here? I heard a voice.
So the great news is that after doing this, we could describe each other in a single word. And we both agreed that, yes, this is my user manual. If somebody reads this, they know me in a single word.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so kudos to you guys.
Well, how about that? And the picture, kudos to you for jumping in and diving in. And the image in the middle is what makes it just all come home, right?
I don't know about that. No kudos for that.
Yeah.
As we chose our own prompts, it's really safe. Because we had the discussion, so might be discriminating in a sense, but as we chose our own prompts, it's totally safe.
Oh, good. Okay, that's good reflection. Thanks for that. That it felt, because we chose our own prompts, it was comfortable. It's almost like, yep, I choose the bathing suit to the beach today. Which is super nice. Yeah, others. Please.
Yeah, but I think we have when we started talking, we discovered that we have a method between lines. For me, it was the authenticity and the communication, and for her, it was the time. And we wanted to share this for our user manual. One important lesson that we discovered on our discussion.
Well, and I was also gonna say when, you say, here's my user manual, and then, they come back with questions or they tell you what they heard. I respond, I'm like, I feel so seen right now. So it's like, yeah, so it's like that connection happens right up front, yeah. Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw lots of hands. I saw this one first, please. And hello again.
Yeah, hello. So she was surprised about the thing that I was telling about myself, and she said, "Oh, I didn't have that impression of you." And then I said, "Yeah, but in the work, it's different.
Yes.
I've got a different demeanor."
Yeah, different
So
persona.
that was interesting.
Great insight.
Yeah, so I was pairing with Juanita and I knew her from before. She's like really nice and friendly, but she said she comes off as being very straightforward at work and very focused.
Yeah.
So I was out of it. I discovered anything about her.
We'll do 3 more and check in on time. So we'd love to hear all from all of you. Yeah.
Yeah, as it felt like as we were discussing that this user manual actually evolved a bit just per the discussion. So it kind of a user manual for the user manual, because when we write with our own perspective. And when it's read by others, they can understand something a bit different. And so then discussing about it helped us to refine it and actually make sure that the right message was.
Great.
It was interesting that he brought up a point that, is it a user manual for your team or is it a user manual for your bosses? And we're like, okay, maybe I gotta have 2 then.
Both and. And then, wait, how did that work? It's this is like a doorway, isn't it not? Like to the next thing, very much so can be a launch. Here, and then I'll grab one more and then we'll have to.
So it's very interesting also, it's an opportunity for us to express our preference and also understand the expectation. When we before we start collaborating.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's
Absolutely.
a nice way to come to that agreement.
Yeah, and there's, by the way, these continuum ideas can be really helpful. So work styles, throwing up 4 or 5 continuums, literally this is safe to dangerous, throwing up 4 or 5 axes that your team cares about, high price lunches you pick, right? Work, time of day for early morning to end of night. These are simple things that you can just do as a passive activity as you start a team and have a conversation about that later. Throwing out lots of ideas. One more, yeah.
We also talked about how this is a coaching tool for you and your team. Like if my team knows that I'm bad at whatever, if they know that they can help me fixing that, and it's something that you can be working, all the matters of all the people that integrates the team. So that was also interesting about it.
This is, an hour is not enough, and folks, I know we're over. We'll quickly just reflect. I'm gonna roll through if that's all right with you, Ben. Roll through what we wanted to provide, and Ben, I would love to protect your security and your computer. Would you mind? Speaking of reflecting privacy.
Your password should be on your user manual.
It should be. The cat comes right now. Let's see. So at a minimum, when you're doing this, you probably experienced it. Just remember to be as authentic and honest as you are permitted to be for yourself. Address. This is good with teaming. Just to remember, these are important categories. I knocked them earlier. They're good to at a minimum. Yep, that's a great idea. What you're doing, shooting that. Communication, decision-making, feedback, and collaboration. Maintain a rhythm, avoid one and done. What that means is, when do you use it? At the beginning is a great time, and then revisiting it, you are an ever-evolving human. We don't want this to be confining for you, right? So just like you have to update everything, this is something that evolves with you. It shouldn't be something that defines you 100%. Please keep that in mind. And then being willing to change. So, and that goes for the team, being permissive of others, just as you're permissive of yourself. Last but not least, just a couple top tips, couple slides on this, so about I think 7 total. So choose prompts that get you uncomfortable. There's a first pass, it's really good to just open door it. Second, when you're working with a team to pick prompts, it might be a great idea to get maybe 1 or 2 that's uncomfortable for you and try it. Next up, make your answers as specific as possible. I think you guys got to practice that, maybe refine it as you work with your buddy. Tailor it to the team's context. We've talked a lot about this already. Maybe it was like the starlet theme of this conversation. Incorporate other tools. So the assessments, 360 feedback, all that's great. This is informative to this. So the essence of what you got from your last Myers-Briggs or whatever it was, those essences, those starlets really inform maybe what you want to choose. So consider it an additional tool, as Ben said earlier, in all the tools that you've got to help be a composite of you. And this is a Drawify, just as a heads up, personal user manual on Drawify. We have a template from what binds Ben and I as a team at Drawify. We are more than happy and would be delighted for you to go check out that template online. Very highly visual and would encourage you to use it. Ben, anything else? So if this wasn't all difficult for you, or you think I want help, this is something worth taking a picture of. These are really strong I believe it's 4 questions. It's a set of questions that you can use with someone that, maybe a few perspectives, by the way. So not only interview the person you live with, person that knows you well, but maybe someone that you know is the contrarian in your life and always disagrees with you. And then maybe someone that's a subject matter expert. Those are 3 great perspectives to add to yours. So ask these questions of those humans, and then maybe build out the quick user guide, just to get another reflection of you. And these are some good prompts for that. That was the one that had another slide. We'll be here for any questions. Ben, over to you.
Can we get slides?
Yeah, we'll leave these up. I'll flip them in a minute. I'm gonna give us a moment for this. I'll give a moment for the other. Ben, anything else? Wrap us up?
Oh, look, just to say, as you see, this content is really important to us. Like, both Erin and I are passionate about helping people team well. If any of this is something you want to follow up with us, we're more than happy to do that. Feel free to contact us through LinkedIn. And we're really happy to sort of continue a conversation, see how we can help you. But apart from that, look, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Nice job, everyone.